welcome in. We are here for the wire. This is week 6, 8, 15. We're moving our way through. This is quite the process, but again, more injuries popping up. Some different bye weeks this week with Packers and Steelers. Hopefully, you're losing a whole lot. Packers play tonight. Aaron Jones surprised inactive. So, with that in mind, first thing I need to ask you, Mike, what running back are you targeting for the Packers? We were both really high on Jones. That's why I'm like, I have to ask because I'm kind of leaning Wilson just because it's a mystery box. You don't know what it could be. It could even be a boat.
Yeah, I mean, assuming AJ Dillon's not on or is already rostered, right? I'm not even an AJ Dillon guy, but yeah, probably Wilson. If you're talking about between like Patrick Taylor and Emmanuel Wilson, I'd probably lean Wilson because, like you said, what's in the box, right? But oh man, I would probably just pick up like hopefully you have him in like a flex spot. You can pick up like Jaden Reed or something. If you need someone to start over Aaron Jones, if you're banking on him to start. So no one on the Raiders. So yeah, I guess it has to be Wilson, right?
Yeah, until it haven't got anything official on Adams yet. It looks like he's going to play, but who actually knows? If he's out, maybe Renfro.
He's active.
Yeah. Oh, he is active. So that's official. Okay. Well, dang it. Could only hope, man. Good news for Kobe Myers.
Yeah.
He's active, and so is Jair Alexander. So that'll be an interesting one-on-one on the outside there all day.
Yeah.
Just for the storyline, not because it actually matters. I mean, yeah, Adams is going to see his targets. Myers is going to see his targets and be completely fine. It's going to be a lot of rushing potentially, which is the interesting part because who actually knows who's going to be running the ball? I'm hoping it's Wilson though. Dillon's just looks so bad, and Wilson has at least done something.
Yeah. Yeah, get Dillon out of there. We all know how I feel about AJ Dillon.
I like Dillon. I thought for sure he was going to get a lot of touchdowns this year, but that is just not happening, clearly. So they aren't going to him. They're going to Dobbs and Watson now. So
I mean, the real storyline here is the battle between the Carlson brothers at kicker. So who's your favorite Carlson brother tonight? Oh, wait, do you want to wait till the kicker section? Maybe we should wait till the kicker section on that one, right?
Well, I mean, to be fair, it's hard to be Daniel. That dude has just a giant leg.
Well, I don't know. Anders has outscored him in 3 out of 4 games this year. So, I don't know.
Both the defenses aren't great.
I'll take Anders because I don't want to pick anything Raiders unless it's Devontae Adams, me being a biased Chargers fan. So
I don't know. I'd take Jacoby Myers too. I'm all right with that.
Yeah, I guess. But boo Raiders.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's going to be rough. So, all right. Not what you're here for. Just want to get that out of the way in case people were curious kind of how we were leaning. So we'll start off with quarterback, and no surprise, the one I'm looking at is Matthew Stafford. Currently quarterback 15. Has had some pretty good games. Actually had 2 touchdowns this past week. Just didn't hit the over 250 mark that he has been more used to. I mean, he's been over 250 every game except for this one. Even he's been over 300 yards in 3 of the 5 games. So the fact that he hit the 2 touchdowns with cutback gives me more hope. I think there's a lot of upside still if he can get back to throwing forward over the 250 and getting 2+ touchdowns is massive for him.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. It seems like they're going to move a little bit more towards passing the ball, and that's going to hurt Kyron Williams, but it's going to help all the other guys on that team. So,
well, and that was the worry, right? Once Cup come back, was it really going to hurt Williams? And it kind of seems to.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He's clearly the workhorse though there, so that's a plus. But what quarterback are you looking at, Mike?
Yeah, not a whole lot of good options here. I mean, only 2 teams out on bye, but also Anthony Richardson injured, so. Sam Howell is another one that's out there that he's QB 13 on the year. So, I mean, we got 2 going tonight, but I think Jordan Love's already ranked ahead of him and rostered and ranked ahead of him. So, and Jimmy Garoppolo, I don't know where he falls, but anyways, QB 13, he's producing. He had a big week. It was against the Bears, of course, but he can give you rushing production. They play the Falcons and the Giants the next 2 weeks. The Giants matchup I really like. So maybe, if your quarterback's on bye in week 7, this is a better target. But Falcons, I don't think is a terrible matchup. Maybe not the best because that game's going to be a slow game. Falcons are going to try and control the clock type of thing. So, and they actually have a solid defense. But, Sam Howell's out there. And, another guy you can maybe target is like Gardner Minshew.
Yeah,
if you want
that was the name I was more kind of curious on because you should have been with Anthony Richardson. Sorry, I was going to go with AR, but he is having that AC. It's not 100%, but it was looking like it was 4 weeks potentially up to 6. So if that is the case, Minshew is a really good backup. He will actually pass the ball, less rushing, so his floor is his ceiling is a lot more limited. But he is a much better passer, and so
yeah, definitely. Stafford is definitely, I think, the guy on the top of the list if you're looking for someone for this coming week. So I like that for sure.
All right, so those are the 2 we're looking at for quarterback. We'll move into running back.
I will say real quick on that.
God, yes.
I'm going to throw out the same thing I did last week because you can still do it right now. If you've got the spot available, pick up Baker Mayfield for nothing and stash him for the rest of the season because he's on bye. So technically he's unlocked this whole week and you can get him before waivers run for literally nothing if you've got the open roster spot right now. So
if you're willing to drop AJ Dillon because you're not using him, now's your chance.
Or if you had like an extra roster spot because somebody was hurt, like maybe you had Aaron Jones and you weren't playing him. He was on your bench anyway because he was iffy. And you put him in an IR spot, you've got an open space now. Something like that.
Yeah.
Would be nice.
Yeah, Baker's been good this year.
But don't think I love his next matchup, but after that, he should be pretty good.
Plays the Lions this week.
Yeah. Like I said, don't love his next matchup, especially since we're not sure on Evans. I'm assuming he's going to be fine, but that's more of the up in the air issue for me. And but anyway, running back. Talking about injuries, Khalil Herbert likely going to be out. The guy I'm looking at is Rashawn Johnson, 37% rostered. The high ankle makes me nervous, but when he has been getting a significant amount of work, Johnson has been pretty solid. However, he also had an injury in that game. So with that in mind, Deontay Foreman's also widely available, 5.1% rostered. So those are your 2 options. If Johnson can't go, that's the other one. And you're looking very widely available. Amari DiMarcardo. I mean, Connor's hurt. He looked really good. It drove me crazy because I was so pumped for Connor. And then, of course, he gets hurt early after a big run, and Mercado just absolutely explodes. So that's kind of where I'm looking. I like your picks, though. You want to tell people about them?
Yeah. The Mercado thing, it'll be interesting to see what they do if Connor's hurt long term, because I don't know if DiMarcado is the guy to take the whole load. He was more of a pass catcher in college. So keep that in mind. But yeah, interesting. And then Roshan, only thing I'm a little worried about is, do they just bring up Deontay Foreman and say, like, all right, Roshan, you kind of stay in the same role, and Deontay Foreman, you are the new Khalil Herbert role. So I agree, though. We've been saying to keep have Roshan on your team since week 1. So he definitely needs to be picked up. Julio McLaughlin, I think we mentioned it last week. He got up to 47% after being under like 1%, which makes sense. He looked good. Unfortunately, I don't know if he got to start him because we were unsure of the Javonte Williams. Is he playing? Is he not? And all that stuff. But yeah, he's 19.4 points in week 4, 17.9 in week 5. I just think he's like the best running back on Denver at this point. I don't know if Javonte's fully healthy.
Sure doesn't look like it.
Yeah, it doesn't. And, this team just needs something, to be excited about. And, even if Javonte comes back, I think he can just kind of take over whatever Samaje Perine was getting and have some value there, even with Javonte. But, who knows if Javonte is going to come back, or if this injury is going to linger, is he going to miss more time? So he's definitely a guy. Justice Hill, don't love Ravens running backs. I'm right there with you, Jason. And we talked about it. Like it's tough.
I can't bring myself to do it, man. You never know who it's going to be. One,
No.
I thought for sure Edwards would get the touchdown. Of course, it's Hill. And I'm like,
yeah,
I look stupid because I had Edwards. Edwards a guy. I know he's going to get in there. Nope, it's Hill.
Yeah, it seems like Edwards is just kind of like the between the 20s guy. Justice Hill is playing like the 2-minute drill stuff. He's at the goal line. So I think he is the running back to have if you're going to take one of these Ravens guys, if he's out there. 12.5 points in week 5 is something. When we get to these heavier bye weeks, it could be, useful. So he's the guy I would target for the Ravens. A couple high-end handcuffs we've been mentioning, and Tajay Spears and Charbonnet. I think Tajay Spears is actually becoming even potentially worthy of he's kind of becoming like a Jalen Warren in PPR, like kind of worthy of a flex spot.
The plus side for Tajay Spears is the fact that in games that they are losing, he is getting the work. Henry is the one when it's a neutral or positive game script that they're using. When they are behind, they are throwing in Spears. So,
and 4 of the 5 games he's outsnapped Henry, the 4 of the 5 weeks that we played. And I think he's scored more than Henry twice this year in PPR. Definitely last week. He had almost 17 points. So he's RB 30 on the year. And, his role, I think, is only going to expand. He looks really, really good. And again, if Henry gets hurt, I think you have like a potential league winner here. And then Zach Charbonnet is kind of in that same-ish style where like his role is increasing. We've been saying to Adam, will he get standalone, value if Kenneth Walker doesn't get hurt? I don't know, but he's definitely a guy that needs to be rostered. And then last one I'll throw out there is Jeff Wilson Jr. If you have IR spots, especially maybe when you're making all your moves, throw him in, put him on the IR, and then pick someone up.
I actually think he has been officially activated, so that's going to make it a little more difficult. But with the Achon injury, it might be just the time for that transition anyway. They might rest him to make sure that Wilson can get some work in and see what he's like.
Yeah, and the HN, we don't know the details there. Was it an ankle or knee? I thought I heard both.
Yeah,
out there. I think it might be a knee. And Jeff Wilson, who knows? Maybe they use three running backs, a 3-headed monster, and he's built more like if anyone's gonna. If you had to choose one to get goal line carries, Jeff Wilson's kind of like the prototypical one. It doesn't mean they're going to go that way, but just so keep that in mind because we obviously see the value of Dolphins running backs.
Yeah, it is a knee at this point. That's what the MRI was on, so that's what they are focusing on.
And they could play it safe with them. Like they don't need to. Like we saw Raheem Mostert be the RB1 in this before HN was even a thing. So I like the Jeff Wilson potential ad, at least for the first week he's back.
Yeah, for sure. Especially, there's a couple guys that, Stevenson or Harris. I've seen people dropping both of them, which is surprising, but I get it. You're frustrated. It's not what you expected this year. So I wouldn't go that far. I still think there's a lot more upside specifically for Stevenson than Harris. But
yeah, you talking about Damian Harris or Najee Harris?
Najee. Damian's actually been, and Murray. If we're going for backups here, Latavius Murray's also been getting some pretty good touches. Not this week though. Cook got cooked.
Yeah, no, I still wouldn't drop. Definitely not Stevenson. I kind of think he's a buy low. I know we're kind of getting off topic here, but like super buy low. Don't give up a good piece for him, but because he's been really bad. But they've played the Jets, the Bills, the Saints, and the Cowboys, I think it was. So, that's 4 of their 5 games. That's just maybe 4 of the best run defenses in the league.
His best game was his first game. It's the fact that they aren't passing to him, which is the most surprising thing. It's like his first week, he saw 6 receptions. That's what you want. That's what you're expecting. And it just disappeared since then.
I know. They need to get back to that a little bit. They don't want to run their offense that way, but they got to at least throw him the ball a little bit more. So I still have hope for Stevenson. Najee, man, I don't want to drop him necessarily, but I'm done starting him until I see something.
Well, you don't have to this week.
Right?
Just bye.
Thank God.
So we'll get away from running back and we'll move into wide receiver. And since we kind of touched on Minshew, the guy that I'm looking at now is Josh Downs, 10.9% rostered. With Minshew there, he is more of a pocket passer, has that ability to run, but he is actually, I would say, a significantly better quarterback than AR when it comes to the pocket presence and passing and actually being a quarterback instead of just rushing and kind of, don't get me wrong. AR, great arm. Dude has a cannon attached to it, but just not the same. But with Minshew, both games that he has played has gone over double digits for downs. He's gotten 13.7 and 15.7 fantasy points in those 2 weeks. So kind of why I like it. I think there's a lot of upside. Again, names of note that have been trending upwards: Wan'Dale Robinson and Jonathan Mingo. Both have seen some good snap shares, been out running a lot of routes, a lot of opportunity there. But those are who I'm looking at. Who are you looking at?
Yeah. No, I think Downs might be my favorite wide receiver to pick up this
Widely
week.
available, man.
Yeah, and he's going to probably go a little bit under the radar. I mean, he did have a good game, so maybe not. But yeah, I really like that because, Gardner Minshew is definitely fits his, at least as of now, fits it better for Downs. Some guys that were probably dropped because they had buys. Josh Palmer and Quinton Johnston fell under that 50% threshold. Still think they both should be on rosters. Josh Palmer more for immediate play, but maybe QJ for a little bit more long-term. Like, I'm not the biggest Quinton Johnston fan, even though we are Chargers fans, but still got to recognize he was a first-round talent on this offense that's going to be out. He's going to be out there. So they definitely both should be on rosters. And Elijah Moore is another guy that I liked going into the year. And it's not lack of usage or anything. Like, he's had 29 targets in 4 games, which is good target number. That's one of them with Dorian Thompson-Robinson as well. When Watson was out, he had the second most wide receiver carries in the NFL after 4 weeks. So they want to get him involved. It just hasn't translated to anything in fantasy football related. I still have hope that this offense can turn it around, and Elijah Moore can really be part of this, a good part of this offense. So I would definitely still roster him at least another week or two just to see. KJ Osborne, we don't know about the Jefferson injury. Hamstring didn't look good. Like, I think he was kind of immediately out and didn't, he just didn't look happy. So KJ Osborne should be rostered. This team's going to throw the ball a ridiculous amount of times with or without Jefferson. So he should.
And up until this point, Osborne has been the second wide receiver on the field more often than Addison has been. So another boost to him.
Yeah, for sure. And then I have 3, I have a lot we're throwing at you, but 3 kind of rookies or guys. These are more if you don't need to start this coming week. Rashee Rice, we mentioned last week. I think you did, Jason. I really like that. I still think he's going to be like, he's not running as many routes. He's not going to run as many routes as like MVS or maybe even Sky Moore, but he's getting targeted a lot compared to
getting targeted a lot on his routes that he is running.
Yes. And
more than anybody else.
Yeah, this team just hasn't clicked. I know it's weird. It's the Chiefs. It's Mahomes. They're 4-1, but to say they haven't clicked, they haven't offensively. And they desperately, if Kelsey's out, that's even more in the favor of Rashee Rice. So I think he's probably my top one of these 3. I'm going to give you Jaden Reed is another one. A little tougher because you have Watson and Dobbs there, but I just think he's a solid player. And then Jameson Williams, still have hope that maybe he can turn into something. Again, these are more like, can you afford to stash a receiver type of thing? So
definitely deeper benches or deeper leagues. These are people you're looking at. And
super, super deep league, Trenton Irwin from the Bengals. He had 14 points in week 5. He replaced T. Higgins, so if Higgins is going to miss more time and this Bengals offense has turned it around, like, you'll take 6 for whatever he had, 6 for 80 during the bye week. So, that's like more of a super deep league, but lots of names there for you. Love Josh Downs though.
Yeah. Oh, Amy Gonzalez coming in. Is Dotson droppable for Downs? I mean, at this point, it's especially with Minshew. Like I said, if it's going to actually be an extended period of Richardson being out, he's going to get a massive boost. Like, it's double digits every week for you. Downs is on the field a lot, but just not getting any targets. I don't know if it's a Howell issue or they're just what's going on, but it's brutal.
I'll put it this way. Howell threw the ball 51 times against the Bears on Thursday night, and Jahan Dotson had 5 targets. That should tell you basically where Jahan Dotson – it sucks because McLaurin and Dotson should be getting 50% of the targets on this team, but it's going to Logan Thomas. Maybe it's a the enemy Travis Kelce thing. A lot of them are going to the running back. So Curtis Samuel is there. So yeah, I think unfortunately Dotson is droppable.
Yeah, it's looking way too much like the Chiefs with the fact that there's no one dominant wide receiver except for occasionally McLaurin when they're actually playing very well, but it's just extremely difficult. So yeah, I would definitely drop Dotson for downs at this point, at least for the next 4 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, however long Richardson's out, because massive boost.
Yeah, I agree.
So, all right, wrap up wide receiver, move into tight end. No surprise, you just mentioned it, Logan Thomas, 8.1% rostered. Still not high enough, guys. Don't know why this is the case. He's the one who seems to actually be leading the Commanders in targets, and had a massive week, as expected. Just gonna throw that out there because I nailed it. Super happy. 9 for 11, 77 yards, 1 touchdown, 20.7 fantasy points. That's impressive.
Yep.
So absolutely love how he's being used. Another name is Johnny Smith. Continuing to just, even this week with Pitts having a good game, also had a really good game. So it's I don't get that team. I don't. It's annoying. Arthur Smith is one of the most confusing coaches ever.
Yeah. I don't even know. I don't even know. Like, I can't deny it anymore. Yeah, Johnny Smith, like, he deserves. It's weird because Kyle Pitts had the best game, obviously, of the season, but his snap percentage went down. It was like barely above 50%. So I don't know. Football's weird in that way, but they obviously like Johnny Smith a lot. And to be fair, like, we saw Johnny Smith be a top 10 fantasy tight end a couple years ago before he went to the Patriots and died.
And he had to compete with Henry, and it's just impossible to do that.
Yeah. So yeah, I actually like both your tight ends. Logan Thomas for sure should be the top guy. Obviously, if like Zach Ertz is still out there or Jake Ferguson for whatever reason, like those guys as well need to be rostered, even though Ferguson had a down week. Noah Fant, I mentioned him last week, and they played on Monday night, and man, he was like a foot away from scoring that long touchdown, and
so close, man.
Yeah, he still had a solid game. Only 2 catches, but I mean, he had like 60 yards, I think. So he's had at least 8 PPR points in the 3 games he's played this year. So if he had that touchdown, I think he's like top tight end 15 on the year with a bye week and with missing week 1. So he's he's always been a good athletic tight end who can do what we saw on last Monday night, where he takes that long, he can take a pass and he can potentially break off a 40-yard touchdown run with that pass. So good offense, and they're going to be using him. So he's another guy deeper on the list. He's definitely available. And then, Luke Musgrave, just see what he does tonight, because he's looked good in some games. But we're getting pretty deep now with tight ends, and definitely Logan Thomas and Johnny Smith deserve to be picked up if you need a streaming tight end.
Yeah, and well, the big thing is you have to wait and see on Luke, because we don't know what it's going to look like with Watson. I'm assuming Watson finally gets his full allotment of snaps tonight, so I'm very curious to see how this all breaks down. But we won't know until tomorrow, unfortunately. So, and it will be too late for you guys. So just good name to definitely keep an eye on. Yeah,
unless you're in the Discord. Yeah, and you can ask us there.
Yeah, because we'll gladly answer. That's definitely a big part of it. I try and post all of the stuff that we talk about here in the Discord. It's not really available anywhere else except for if you're watching live or you go back and decide to watch this for some reason.
I did want to throw out as well, you have mentioned it all blends together because we do so many shows, and I see your face drinking Mountain Dew so much throughout the week, Jason.
Yeah, Frito-Lay.
From Frito-Lay. But Cole Kmet right now is tight end 4 on the year, and you've mentioned that name a couple of times. So I just wanted to give you those props. just throw that out there. Again, it's pretty easy to be tight end 4 at this point, but it's just I'm still going to give you the props when you've earned them there.
Yeah, that occasionally hit.
But the thing is, with Cole Kmet is, when the Bears and Fields started playing well, I think we said it. I think he was on the waiver show a couple weeks ago, and when that offense started to get going last year, Cole Kmet was a big part of it. Now they didn't have, DJ Moore and Darnell Mooney for a lot of the year. So, but no, he's, I'm definitely have Cole Kmet in a couple of leagues, and I'm super excited because he's putting up big week winning. I'm even if he never puts up double-digit points again, he's already like paid off his value of scoring 32 points in the last 2 weeks. So,
yeah, it's definitely a nice value to have if you manage to pick him up, because I think it's the next 3 weeks he's going to definitely pay off that value, in my opinion. He has some great matchups coming up, a lot of good opportunities for him. But we'll move off tight end, move into defenses. No surprise again. Chiefs, 49% rostered, widely available, great matchup. They play the Broncos, who continually just look lost. They don't know what they're doing. Granted, they faced some decent defenses, but gave up 11 fantasy points to the Jags.
Play the Broncos on Thursday too.
Yeah, it's a Thursday,
which
so
is
no matter what,
always
it
a disaster. So,
are they home as well?
Yeah,
Are they
they're playing in Arrowhead, so that's going to be another.
And Taylor Swift's going to be there. No, I'm just kidding. Gives the defense a boost.
Yeah. Well, Kelsey might.
Taylor Swift is probably shown more than Jerry Jeudy. I'm just saying. I'm just now. Just putting it out there.
Jerry Jeudy. The whole offense, man.
It's ugly, but definitely like them. I mean,
yes.
Chiefs have yet to put up a 0. Going knock on wood, because it could happen, but right now they're cruising and in positive matchups. That this week they played the Vikings that put up 5 fantasy points. So I think that don't get me wrong, Broncos could be better, but not believing it right now.
No.
No,
not at all. I don't
sweet.
believe it at all. Yeah. No, I think, and the Chiefs, like you said, they're just a good defense too. Like those are always take priority over these like 1 week streamers. I mentioned it, and I'll mention them again. The Browns, I think statistically, through all the measurements and advanced stats, they've been the best defense in the NFL, at least through the first 4 weeks. Now they play the 49ers this coming week, which is a problem. So
yeah, you saw Dallas just get dismantled by them. Yeah, that's not
good. That's like the nerd. Like, but if you could survive it and maybe they get you a couple points, they play the Colts, Seahawks, like good team, but I'm not necessarily afraid of them. I think a good defense can make that game close. Cardinals, Ravens, Steelers, Broncos, like they have a pretty good schedule over the next 6 weeks, and I just think they're a top 5 defense. So just be careful
of them being dropped.
Yes,
because they're playing the 49ers. Might be,
and they were on a bye last week. Yeah. So you might be able to hold off if you can find someone better, like the Chiefs. The Saints defense, like I don't know what the ESPN number is on NFL. They're 33.9. I still don't understand. Like we mentioned it even before playing the Patriots, and their schedule is super soft in terms of the quarterbacks they play. They play CJ Stroud, who rookie quarterback. They could give him problems. Trevor Lawrence and the Jags. They play Gardner Minshew. They play Justin Fields. So we'll see. Like maybe the Bears are worse of a matchup than we think, but they're obviously a talented defense. We saw that over the last couple of weeks. I think they're the top 4 defense this year. And then it's gross. And actually, I'm just going against what I just mentioned. I don't pick the Raiders, but the Raiders, only because they play the Patriots in week 6. What have the Patriots scored in the last 2 weeks? Like a touchdown? Have they? I know they got shut out.
It's
field goal. Okay.
Yeah. It was like 72-3 over the past 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. That's rough.
And
maybe if you pass it to Stevenson, who knows?
Yeah, they haven't scored over 20 points this season. I'm just looking quickly now. They have 20 points against the Eagles is their best week. So
yeah, I mean that's fine. I don't love the matchup for this week for either of them, but I'd much prefer the Lions over the Browns this week, as the Lions face the Bucks. But
yeah, and then maybe go after the Browns, because I think I agree. Like a lot of people are going to see that San Francisco matchup and probably not going to pick them up. So then maybe swap them out, and just pick up I do think the Browns are just a better defense. So, but this week I like the Lions more.
But all right.
All right.
Maybe
How
it's
about a
everything.
super deep dive for
Oh
you?
gosh. Here we go. All right. Let's hear it.
What about Atlanta against Washington?
Yeah, I mean, Washington likes to turn it over. Atlanta's been keeping the pace of play relatively slow.
Atlanta hasn't put up like eye-popping numbers on defense, but they also haven't been terrible. Like they've won 3 games because of their defense. It's definitely not the offense doing anything. So, I when you've got Washington who's allowing the 3rd most fantasy points to opposing defenses, it's not a terrible matchup if you're desperate.
No, I agree with that. Sam Howell, we've seen him have some big turnover games. So if you can get some pressure on him and stuff, yeah, I like that. I like that call for sure.
Well, the Falcons, just the pace of play for them is so slow that it really benefits, I mean, their defense, because they're keeping the ball away from the offense for a lot of it. They're running a lot of plays, and it's really slowing down the game and making it tough.
Yeah. No,
the biggest streaming issue I think this week is so many of those teams that you would stream against that like are so easy to project are going to have bad games. Or like the Giants are playing the Bills. The Bills are rostered. Okay, you're not going to be in a league where the Bills are available. Or the Bears are playing the Vikings. Like gross. I don't want to play the Vikings defense. That's disgusting. Even if I'm desperate, there's got to be a better option. Like you said, the Raiders are playing the Patriots. Like I got to be super desperate to want to do that.
Seattle
Cleveland's
versus Bengals.
Yeah, but are they back?
Yeah, that's the problem.
Like, are they hot now?
Dolphins are potentially a sneaky one. I think I saw they were above that 50% threshold, which is why I didn't put them on. But they play the Panthers.
That's who I'm rolling with.
Cleveland's allowed a lot of points as well, but again, they're playing San Francisco. San Francisco's rostered. Somebody's got them out there. So it's like, and then the Falcons are also near the top of that list because their offense is so terrible, but they're playing Washington. And in that case, I'd rather have the team that didn't just give up 40 to the Bears. So I'll take Atlanta on that side of it.
Yeah, no,
it's gross. It's real gross.
It is. If you believe in the Jared Goff home versus road splits, then only 6 touchdowns last year on the road compared to 23 at home, and I think this year, I know they've played a lot at home, but on the road 2 touchdowns compared to in 2 games compared to 7 in 3 games at home. So if you believe in that, maybe the Bucks, Amon-Ra St. Brown maybe still going to miss time. Jahmyr Gibbs maybe still out. So
Gibbs late inactive, so maybe that. But
you'd
have to be desperate.
I don't want to. Yeah, exactly. Hopefully, you have someone that we've mentioned over the last couple of weeks or this week, and you can just keep rolling with them.
Well, if Gibbs stays out, I mean, Reynolds actually saw a pretty good amount of usage in that last game. So,
yeah, he still wasn't used. Like his numbers were good, his finish was good, and it was exactly kind of what we said: 4 catches, 70 yards, and if he gets the touchdown, you have a really good week, right? You have a safe floor. That's exactly what he got. 4 for like 71. But he wasn't out there, like, considering all the injuries, Gibbs and St. Brown, like he was only out there 47%. I don't know if he still has that injury that they're nursing, and but yeah, I definitely I don't even know what his roster percentage is, but I'm a Josh Reynolds guy. I think definitely he should be a potential spot starter this week if St. Brown's out.
Yeah, well, and I mean, they all really had just a solid. They all performed. I mean, Laporta clearly was the winner, as expected, of that bunch because he's just a beast at this point. Yeah. But
Cleve Raymond had I think he was tackled at like the 1 or something.
Yeah,
and it went to Josh Reynolds.
Still had a big day. I mean, he put up some solid numbers for you. It's just, again, what you're expecting on somebody that you're just throwing a dart on. He definitely performed. So
yeah, little light on the bye week. So hopefully you don't need, and not the greatest teams in terms of fantasy relevant players. So hopefully you don't need to go too deep with these guys. But you never know, injuries and and all that.
But all right, well, we're going to let you go and I guess enjoy the Monday night football game. We'll see how this ends up. It's going to be very interesting. So hopefully we've helped out. Otherwise, as always, remember, like, subscribe, all that good stuff here. If you haven't, join the Discord, $3 a month. Great value there. And as always, guys, just have a good week and keep up with the nonsense.